the #1 customer in the auto industry. Based on our own experience and by keeping the customer in front of mind, it only made sense to our next speaker to have more women in the automotive business to change the relationship women have with their cars. Especially when, according to the US Department of Labor, women made up just 1.7% of automotive technicians and mechanics in 2016. 1.7. An engineer and automotive technician herself, her passion drove her to start Girls Auto Clinic, and she began building an industry movement that inspires and fuels the empowerment of women. Whether she's delivering a car care workshop, writing a piece for the Washington Post, or appearing on numerous TV shows, sharing her story, Patrice Banks has reached millions across America with her passion and commitment to educating women and closing the gender gap in the automotive industry. She has also authored the book, The Girls Auto Clinic Glove Box Guide. Prior to establishing Girls Auto Clinic, Patrice worked for more than 12 years as an engineer, manager, and leader at DuPont, a science and technology company. Please join me in welcoming the Chief She-Canic and founder of Girls Auto Clinic, Patrice Banks.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Hello. Wow. It's a great introduction. Oh, it's not the best picture of me, but that's fine. I'm so excited to be here, actually. Like she mentioned, I worked in corporate America, and I was listening backstage, and he said, train the trainer, TTT, and it started bringing back crazy flashbacks. But I miss these types of conferences and seeing everyone when I worked for DuPont, seeing some of my colleagues and stuff. And so I'm feeling a little nostalgic being here and participating in this conference. So I thank Caterpillar for inviting me. But also, I tell you one thing I don't miss is our meetings. But like she mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Girls Auto Clinic in the She-Canic movement. And is this my clicker? Is this the clicker? Or do I have a clicker? I probably was pressing the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Thank you. All right, so I want to tell you a little bit about my story first. Like she mentioned, I was an engineer. I worked for DuPont for 12 years, and I called myself an auto airhead. And I was. I felt taken advantage of. Anytime I went into a mechanic, right, I was ashamed of how I took care of my car, so I waited to the last minute to do repairs. And I always thought I needed a guy to help me when it came to my car, which wasn't a very empowering situation. Being an engineer, working for DuPont, I owned a house. I saw myself as an empowered woman. And I started talking to some of my girlfriends and some other people, and a lot of other women felt that way. We hated our automotive buying and repair experiences. And so I started looking for ways to educate and empower myself. I started looking for a female mechanic near me. I couldn't find one in any state close by. I started looking for resources online to educate and empower myself. And I typed in female mechanic in Google. The first thing that pops up is the 10 top stock images of female mechanics. So you can imagine some of the photos that were in there. Now if you type in female mechanic, Girls Auto Clinic pops up first. And so I thought, wow, here's me needing this type of information, and a lot of my girlfriends. I started doing some research, and I realized that women are the #1 customer in the automotive industry. Did you know that? We influence up to 95% of the car buying decisions, which makes sense since we're kind of the CFOs of the household, but we're also 67% of auto repair, and there are now more women drivers than men across all age groups. That scare some of you guys? Right? We've got more women on the road, but the future is female. And so me being an engineer and a problem solver, I looked at this as an incredible opportunity to solve a problem. Here you have your #1 customer, and the statistics show that 77% feel that women are mistreated and misunderstood. Why is your #1 customer unhappy? Why does she hate her automotive buying and repair experiences? And I believe the root cause to that problem is the fact that you don't see women that work in this industry. You don't have your #1 customer interacting with someone that looks like her and thinks like her and talks like her, and you don't have women in positions of influence or leadership and ownership. And so, me being the crazy person that I am and passionate person that I am, I decided to quit my job, making 6 figures a year. I went back to school to learn how to work on cars, automotive technology, and I created a business that was going to educate and empower women through their cars. And that's what Girls Auto Clinic is. And Girls Auto Clinic offers automotive buying and repair resources, services, and products to women by women. And so I thought I was going to solve this problem on 2 sides. I was going to create a company that caters to women when it comes to their cars, and I was also going to hire women and put them in positions of leader and ownership to provide these products and services. And so some of the resources that we have, I started out doing my Girls Auto Clinic car care workshops. As soon as I was in school and I was learning, I couldn't wait to share this information with women, right? This isn't rocket science. I got to tell you what I know now, right? I couldn't wait to get it out. Then I wrote a book because my business reaches many women. My community is women drivers, and there were women in the Philadelphia area, outside of the Philadelphia, that said, how do I get this information? So I wrote a book, and I started writing things online, blogs, and giving videos with all of the education about their cars. And then I put together a community on Facebook. I call it the Chicanic Facebook community. It's just for women, sorry guys, but it's women drivers, and it connects them with female mechanics. They ask any questions they have about their cars, and they get a prompt response from a female mechanic. But it's also a place for them to share their stories, their triumphs, their woes, their buyers beware. So they're having fun and they're also learning. Just last year, 2017, I opened my first full-service auto repair center that caters to women. I have all female mechanics, and there's a nail salon there to get your nails done while you wait for your car. And thank you. When I was working for DuPont, me and my girlfriend, we used to go to this specific Jiffy Lube because there was a nail salon next to it. And we just thought we were the smartest girls because we're getting our nails done, we're getting our oil changed, and we were getting lunch all in an hour, and we were back at work. And I thought, women hate their automotive experiences. There's always something we'd rather be doing than going to get our oil changed. So how can I make it something they look forward to and they want to come and do, right? I tell people, the customers that come to Girls Auto Clinic just want to be around dope women doing dope things. It's almost like a clubhouse for women. And so after 3 years of Girls Auto Clinic and the Chicanic movement, we've had, like she mentioned, incredible press from ABC Nightly News to Good Morning America and international press with BBC and Russian Times. And I don't have a PR person. This is just me leading this company in this movement, right? People want what we're talking about. They want to see it. The press comes to us. We've had some incredible followers from around the world now that are excited. They want to become Chicanics. They want to know what a Chicanic is, and they want to become Chicanics. And we've also made some incredible partnerships with people like Ford, Lean Cuisine, Dell, and I just signed a contract with Lyft, doing a partnership with them that I'm really excited about. And so one of the things that I didn't realize when I was building Girls Auto Clinic, but when I was building my Chicanic movement, that it wasn't a movement, it was a business. I was running it like a business and a brand. And a movement inspires change and action, right? But often people don't value these movements because the return on the investment isn't money, right? It's a greater good of the community. And the investment is a long-term investment. And we know corporate America doesn't like long-term investments. They want money next quarter, right? End of the fiscal year. What are our numbers? And so it's important that if you want to build a movement and you're solving a problem by building a movement, that you run it like it's a startup business. And these take time to develop. Any investor is going to say 5 to 7 years to get on your return on your investment. So think about that when you're building a movement, that it does take time, and run it like a startup. And so just like startups and businesses need a plan, right? So does your movement. You need a plan of how you're going to execute this, and you want to start with your why. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Simon Sinek. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you're doing it. What is your why? And it should be actionable and very clear what your core values are. You also need your who. Who's going to make this why happen? And this is very important, the first players in your movement, in order for it to be successful, right? What are we offering? What products or service are we offering to make a why the reality? And where are our customers? Where can we have the biggest impact? Where is our community? Where do we find them, and how do we reach out to them? And then also your what, which is timing is everything, right? When you launch, your movement is going to be critical to the success. And I'll tell you some stories about the Chicanic movement. So we're starting with why. Simon Sinek says, start with why. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I'm gonna move around a little bit here, but the first thing I wanna talk about is movements inspire action and change. You must have a call to action. Girls Auto Clinic offers automotive buying and repair resources. We create smart consumers and confident drivers. We help women go from auto airhead to a Chicanic, right? You make sure it's actionable and it's clear. In 2014, I gave a TED Talk called How I Plan on Disrupting the Automotive Industry in My Red Heels. I was a little bold and gutsy kind of saying that. But afterwards, I had several women come up to me and say, I want to help you. What can we do to make this happen? I'm inspired. So you want to make sure that your why is something that's going to inspire action for people to do something. Now, you have to define the problem, or what I say, define the monster, and kill it. And this means that you're taking a stand for something or taking a stand against something. And when you take a stand against something, often you get a little bit of backlash from it. And you do. I get some backlash for what I'm doing, trying to empower women, saying that I'm here for women. But I go back to my why. Whether I'm talking to the CEO of Pep Boys or AutoZone, or I'm talking to my followers, or I'm talking to you, I tell people, I didn't start this business because I wanted to be a mechanic. I'm here for women. This is not an automotive company, this is a female empowerment company, and that is my why. And I make sure everybody knows that, and I go back to my core values whenever I'm being challenged or there is any type of backlash with what I'm doing. Understanding, right, who your core and your community is. And then you want to create a tribe. I created the Chicanic tribes, and what is a Chicanic? It's a girl who goes from auto airhead to car savvy. And so one of the things that I found as I was doing my workshops is women were coming up excited. They wanted to help me. They wanted to learn more. They were sharing our information. And I thought I needed a name for this new empowered woman, this car savvy woman. I think about some of my idols like Beyonce, and she's got her beehive, right? Or even like Lady Gaga, the Little Monsters. I said, I need a name for this group. And I crowdsourced it. I went on Facebook and said that story. What do I call these new empowered ladies? And we came up with Chicanic. And this is what a Chicanic is. So she's a female of any age who has mastered the mechanics of yes, I can, and she uses them to get to yes, I did. And so she believes in herself and she takes action. A Chicanic is empowered through awareness, education, and support, and she inspires other women to do the same. So when she inspires people through her actions. Right? She knows she is smart enough to learn and understand her car as well as her male counterparts do. A Chicanic is confident in her abilities to know and learn. She treats her car as she does her own body, and she does not want to be her own physician, but she does want to know how to secure her own health and prevent sickness and disease. The Chicanic prioritizes self-care. She no longer fears the auto repair shop or the auto mechanic. A Chicanic is brave and confident. And so this is how we identify ourselves. Are you a Chicanic? And this is what my mission is to create every single woman driver to feel that she is a Chicanic. So we have our why, right? We know what our community is, and we have our why. Now you need the who. And the first thing you need for a movement is a leader, someone who's passionate, who's an influencer, and who's gutsy, right? They probably have an entrepreneurial spirit, or they're kind of a rebel, where they like to do things their own way. Leaders naturally want to do things their own way, right? And they're not afraid to be in the public. They're not afraid to be vulnerable in front of people. And the purpose of the leader is to drive the vision and to create followers. Now, this is a job that isn't something you give to someone that they do on the side to check off their COT, or critical operating task, at the end of the year in their performance review. This is something that you eat, breathe, and live. It's the CEO, right? This is a full-time position for somebody in your industry if you're looking to build an industry movement. It's not something that's like a side job that you pass off to say, hey, here's something else that we can do. And their purpose is to create these followers, your first followers. You cannot have a movement until you have your first few people that say, look at this crazy person here with this idea. I believe in them, and I'm gonna take a risk to do what they are doing and to emulate them. So your first followers emulate the leader. Okay, but what they end up doing is they become leaders themselves, and then they have followers, and they create followers. And so the purpose of the leader is to have the vision, push the vision forward, and to create these first followers that then become leaders, that then turn leaders and other followers into leaders, which turn other followers into leaders. And that's how movements grow. And so I love telling this story about finding my female mechanics. I've got 5 female mechanics at Girls Auto Clinic repair shop in Philadelphia, and people say, how did you find them? I don't know one female mechanic. And the funny thing is I was telling everyone, even when I did my TED Talk, I'm gonna start a business with female mechanics, and I couldn't even find one, right? But I just knew they were gonna be out there. And guess what? As I started getting out there, talking about what I wanted to do, sharing what I had learned, I didn't have to find not one of them, they found me. People started talking about what I was doing. I'd pick up a little bit of press, and they'd hear about me. They would email me and say, I love what you're doing. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to have my own shop. They had their own stories of facing discrimination, being in a male-dominated field as a female mechanic, right? Often being laid off if they get pregnant or having to answer phones. They weren't respected for their contribution or valued because a lot of men were intimidated by them. None of them were working on cars when they found me and I hired them, but they trusted me, and these were my first followers, and they opened my repair center with me, and now I don't even need to be there. We've been open 1 year, we've got over 300 5-star reviews, we've won awards. They run it like it's theirs. I took these first followers and made them leaders, and now they're creating their own followers. People don't even know I'm at the shop. They come and see Sue, she's my shop forewoman. Right? So your first followers are really important, and they are taking the biggest risk, really, not the CEO, but these first followers, because they're emulating the CEO and they're creating more followers. They execute your vision. All right, so the last thing that you're gonna need for your Who team is sponsors. Money talks, right? And for a business, when you run out of money, you run out of business. The same thing with a movement. You run out of money, you run out of movement. And you're gonna need money to make this work. You're gonna need sponsors that buy into the CEO and the followers. They are gonna give you advice, give you connections, resources, and money to make this grow and be sustainable. And it's not something that you plan for the next event or for 1 year. Your sponsors are giving you money and help for the next 5 years. And this is a win-win for them, because if this is successful, it helps further their personal brand. So they believe in you, they believe this is gonna be successful, they're gonna help you, and they're gonna further their personal brand as well. So you have the who, we have the why, we have the who. The who is going to execute the what, and this is the guts to your movement. This is an old slide. These are some old slides, by the way. So you first want to talk about what's your mission. Is it actionable, right? And then what are the products and services that we're offering to our community, to our Chicanics, to our customers? And how much does it cost? And this needs a 5-year plan. This is, like I said, you don't plan this for the next event or the next year. This is something that takes time, and you have to invest in building your products and service and adding value to your community and to the movement that you want to grow. And you need a marketing strategy. This is where the magic happens, is in the marketing. It's fun, but often businesses forget about marketing, and they don't have money for PR and marketing, and a movement is public. You have to figure out where your community is and how to reach them, and use a CRM or a customer relations management tool. Track their behaviors, what their needs are their desires, where they're located, and how you can reach them and how you can communicate with them. You want to be sharing, you want to be creating must-share content that they need, that they want to share. You want to create language that's provoking, and you also want to create safe spaces for this community to come together, talk about their desires, their problems, and come up with solutions. And you also need money behind this, right? Nobody wants to think about the finances when running a business. They all hate this side of things, right? But if you run out of money, you don't have a movement anymore. All right, get creative with your money. Know your numbers and always be raising money. And look to work with other brands that want to increase their brand loyalty. So, this is your guts. Again, plan for 5 years. What you want to do, what your movement is. This is what your core team is, your who is going to be doing. Your first follower is the CEO and the sponsor. How are we going to make this work and last and sustain for at least 5 years, and how are we going to support that? How much is it going to cost? Where do we get this money? So let's talk about where we go, right? Our Chicanics are online and physical. We created value and products and service for them in both places, and everything is looking to educate and empower them. So we have our online Chicanic community, but we also do blogs and videos, and eventually we're gonna have an app, which I'm really excited about. And so you also wanna create the physical spaces too, that they come and they meet. We have the Girls Auto Clinic Repair Center, right? Just being around dope women that are doing dope things. And not only am I empowering women that come as drivers, but I am empowering my mechanics that work there. These are women that this was their dream. They've always wanted to do this. They come to work excited, they're happy, they're making their contributions. And let me tell you something, when you give women a safe space to create and to make their contribution, it's incredible. Like I mentioned, none of these women were working on cars. They always felt intimidated working around men and not good enough. And when you take that pressure and that stress off of them, sometimes they come to work wearing makeup, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come to work wearing heels, sometimes they don't, right? They're just themselves. And what they're able to produce and what we're able to deliver to our Chicanics, our customers, is incredible. And that is my proudest moment. My shop foreman and service advisor said to me, this is the best paying job that they've ever had. And I don't even think I pay them enough. And so I'm just really proud that I'm able to create this space for them to come and feel like they can be themselves and make their contribution and create more followers for our Chicanic movement. And definitely you want to be provocative in the places where your people are. Now, there is some intention with the red heels, right? I get a lot of backlash for how I look and how I dress in the automotive industry. They think I'm just trying to be sexy and cute, that I'm furthering the stereotypes of women in the automotive industry, right? And I go back to my why when I face people like that. First of all, I say I'm not trying to be sexy, I just am sexy. This is who I am. I love to wear my heels, right? And guess what? I'm not trying to look like a mechanic. Do you know who I want to look like? My customer. It's a Chicanic, the woman driver. Guess what? She likes heels, right? I talk like her, I look like her, I think like her. I'm interacting with her. She trusts me. There is an intention with that, right? And it's one of the reasons why we're so popular, why we're getting so much press without a PR person. It's provocative and people want to see it. I also use a language that provokes discussion. I mentioned things like, often we treat our cars like our bad exes treat us. The biggest mistake we make with our cars is cheating with different mechanics or shop hop, right? Our cars are communicating with us daily, whether through the dashboard light or through noises that it's making or smells and sounds, and we ignore them, right? And we're not committed to taking care of them. All this stuff that we kind of wish our partners would, and women get it. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I do kind of treat my car kind of crappy, right? And then you wonder why it doesn't take care of you. And so we are provocative, and we say things that are funny and that make people laugh, but it gets them to listen and they pay attention. And people want more of that. What's bigger than female empowerment right now? And one of the things that I am doing with the Chicanic movement is I'm piggybacking off an already really powerful wave. Right? Your timing is everything on when you launch these things and how you can get in the public or piggyback off of something that's bigger and finding an area that it hasn't touched yet. I didn't see this female mechanic empowerment happening in the automotive industry. We're the first to be here, which is another reason why we have so much publicity and a huge following. And essentially what the female empowerment movement did was take me, a follower, and made me a leader. So I was one of the first followers, right, that was said, I'm going to empower myself, I'm going to become a leader, I'm going to create other followers. And so that's how movements work, and they build off of each other. And they continue to grow until you reach a tipping point. And I had a number here I wanted you to text to the Chicanic to this number. I think it's like 58888. Because this is my call to action to you. If you are a leader that wants to create followers, or if you are a follower that wants to become a leader, I wanted you to text Chicanic to that number, and I'll get it for you in a minute, because I know it's backstage, so we can do that. And join our community. It's for men and women. Only the Chicanic Facebook community is for women. But all the rest of the stuff is for men and women who are interested in our movement, what we're doing, looking at and sharing ideas of how we can help women, of how we can further our movement, get out in the public more, and really create more value. And the return on the investment here for your business is fierce brand loyalty. It will take 5 to 7 years and a really good plan that you execute, but you are going to create customers for life, which is really what we want. And so I'm opening it up for questions now. And I'll also get you that number that you can text She Canic to, so we want to collect your email information so we can reach out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.